once again. You know what I'm saying?
Salute,
My
salute,
G.
salute.
What we're gonna ask you before we get into all the Arsenal talk. Obviously, the big headline today is Newcastle rejecting the 110 bid from Liverpool for Isak. What's your thoughts on it, bro? Because I reckon they're gonna get the player anyway, bro. They're just working their way up, seeing if they can get a little bargain deal. What's your thoughts?
I actually think different to what you man are thinking. Look, Newcastle, from when they came into the league, we all know what their owners are about, right? And the one thing that's been labeled with them recently, especially in this window, is how much of a pushover they are being. But I think Liverpool fucked up, right? Because when they went in for Isak and Liverpool and Newcastle said no, they said, all right, we're going to go and hijack the guy you're trying to get to replace Isak. So they want to hijack a ticket. So now Newcastle is left in a position where they're looking like, all right, so this man's hijacked our replacement and they still want my fucking best player, right? That's bullying, bro, right? And Newcastle are looking at it like, no, we're not going to have it. We're not going to have it. They got owners, that are richer than every owner in the league put together. They don't need the money like that, blood. Yeah. And I'm expecting Newcastle owners to make the stand and say, bro, you put in a transfer request. You're playing with the under 8's rude boy. Yeah? Hey, listen, people think just because players hand in transfer requests, that means, oh, that's the end of the line. We see with Kane and Levy. He turned it around. Kane turned it around. He had one of his best seasons that year when Levy refused to let him go. And we thought, oh, he's going to down tools now. He's going to do this now. No, because he still wants that move. Do well for the club and you will get that move. So that's what Isak's got to fucking concentrate on. Look, once the window's shut, he's got to get his mind back on playing football. And I think that's what's going to happen, right? Liverpool fucked up. They went around thinking they can. We were talking about this the last time, innit? No, this is like going to a fucking club and man's jacking your main girl and your side bitch in one fucking night. Bro, have you ever seen anything like that, brother? That's like somebody jacking your main thing and your side thing in one fucking go, bro. Jacking it off for you, like, and you ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Arteta, all or nothing, bro. All or nothing.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yo, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And
no, but do you know what it is, Ola? Yeah, I feel like. Do you know why I don't feel like they fucked up? I get your point, yeah. But when man are comparing it to the Suarez bid, we didn't go back in there with a proper bid. I still feel like they got the P's in it. So I feel like they're going to meet the valuation.
Suarez went on strike. And what happened? He had one of his best seasons after that window shot.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though. You think they're not going to go back in there? Just sold Diaz, yeah? You think they're not going to? I feel like they're still going to go back in. That would be based. That would be based. That would be based. We spent it on Verts. We got Kirkes. We got all these players. We're broke. They're trying to play like they're broke, but we know they got P's in it. Like they know that what they're trying to do is try to sell 150. Even if they get to the 150, I reckon they only get to the 150 with the add-ons in it. With the add-ons, performance-based add-ons and all that type of stuff. But I reckon they're still going to get the player, bro. They have to save face. Because Liverpool fans were talking the most, saying, oh, we're going to get Ekitike. And then when they're strong on them to get Isak. And now it's turned around. They have to go out there and, you know what I'm saying?
Bro, if that happens, I'm looking at Newcastle owners sideways, bro. I'm looking at their ambition, bro. Because they are not serving their fans right if they let that happen. And this ain't, I'm going to be scared of Liverpool if they get Isak or arteta. Like, I'm already scared of Newcastle. They beat us 4 times last year with Isak in it. You know what I mean? And this man's asking for, I just want the best competition in the league, blood. Like, hold on. You want fucking Liverpool with Taylor's hands to come and put paws on us like that? Like, no, bro. You know what I'm trying to say? Let Isak stay where he is. Let your Yokeres bedding. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Just let everything balance itself out in the league. And then the competition is going to happen how it's supposed to happen. I do not want like monopoly of fucking crazy. Like this ain't Fergie days, man, where you just jacking all the fucking best players and arteta out of the way Liverpool, look, I understand what happened with Jota is what's probably making them inclined to do a madness in the window, the way they're doing madness in the window. And they got money for it. I know they got the money, right? But I think this one, the way Newcastle's playing it, They're playing on some principle thing because of the Ekitike business. What happened with the Ekitike deal there? I think he rubbed Newcastle the wrong way. And I think that's why they're digging their heels in the way they're digging their heels in. Because if you let them get Ekitike, I think Isak would have been a much easier transfer for them to do. But because they went and jacked him and they want to slap Newcastle in the face on some, oh yeah, we're going to bully you, unsettle your player. Your player's going to hand in a transfer request. Hey, listen, we ain't worried about that money. They got money. Money is not their man's problem. You know what I mean? It's begging teams not to improve. It's not about begging teams not to improve. Like they already improved. They won the league last season.
They're going to win it anyway.
They're going to win it anyways. That's what I'm trying to say. But Newcastle need to get, they just got to Champions League and they're going to give away their fucking best player. They just won the cup, got to the Champions League, and what? They just got to give away their best player just because Liverpool wants them. No, Liverpool can go sit down. That's how I'm looking at it, man. You know what I mean? And the maddest thing is this, right? I think the league is is much more open than what people are looking at this year. We got some contenders. Chelsea looking mad.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Chelsea are looking, anybody that's looking at Chelsea are looking mad this year, right? Man City, you could say, oh, this, that, and the other, maybe their defense is not settled. And I've seen a few people make a case about their defense, but they got an anomaly. And this brother said he's back with his missus. A Pep that's back with his missus is a dangerous Pep, you know, people. A Pep that's back with his missus is a dangerous Pep, you know, people. I'm telling you, he's a dangerous Pep. So they could be back in contention as well. And then, obviously, they got us, the bridesmaid, that's never been the bride, but we're trying to get the bride thing, and we ain't never gotten there yet. So the league's way more open than it looks. And Liverpool, they ain't won the league back-to-back before. So there's a few elements that's going to be going into this league that's going to make this league interesting. And I'm here for it, but I kind of want it a little bit balanced. And who knows if Newcastle keep Isak, who knows what they could do in the league this year if they add on to what, you know, onto what they got going on. Who knows what they could do in the league? You know, they're taking a few scalps last year on some of the top six, right? And they beat quite a few teams impressively last year. And that's because they got Isak, Bruno Guimaraes, and all these other industrious players that they got in and around their team. You know, so Liverpool definitely going to make a splash, right? But I want to see where they pivot to if this Isak thing don't happen. I want to see where they pivot to.
Yeah, no, I don't think they can let this deal not happen, to be honest. But it is what it is. To be fair, a lot of Liverpool fans, they were saying, yo, as long as we get a striker, and they already got a Ekitike, as long as we get a striker, they're happy, innit?
Yeah,
so I mean,
Nicholas Jackson is there for 100 million. Like,
they could wait though, Ola, because we know they got the piece. They could just wait and say, okay, we'll wait out because you man ain't winning nothing. We've already strengthened. We'll just wait it out. We got the striker that we wanted. You know
so wait it out for how long though? How long you think they wait it out for?
Bro, even if they wait out till January, the player's already unhappy, bro. The player, there's a report that he was saying that he's got a thigh injury or something like that. I saw. Apparently, he's got a minor thigh injury.
How many years has he got?
Minor thigh injury. You don't want to be there.
He got 3 years left, right? He got 3 years left on his deal.
Yeah, but the valuation of the player is going to keep dropping, bro.
They don't care about that.
They don't care about that, man. I keep talking about valuation. Like their owners have got more money than
but these men have had problems in signing players though. Because I remember when they got Anthony Gordon, it took them a while to get there. So this whole Arab money, because of the rules of the Prem, they don't have the license that Man City had or Chelsea had. These men are still struggling to sign players, so they can say they don't care yet. But
I think they'll just make a new. I think in the end they'll just make a new contract with Isak and increase his wages, make him top earner, man. You know what I mean? That'll make him happy. He'll be playing in Champions League like he said he wanted to play. I think there's a few things at play that could happen. I'm hoping he don't go Liverpool. Heritage
players don't care about the money, bro. They're there for the trophies. Yeah, I mean, and he looks like he wants to win, bro. Because, bro, why would he not? If he knows he's gonna get paid, he's getting bread there. Why would he? Why would he take this stance here if it's about the money, bro? He knows the club's got money like that for his wages. So if it's about the money, bro, man won a trophy last year. He's like, yo, I got the taste for it. The big teams are in for me. Arsenal were looking at me. Do you know what I'm saying? Liverpool are in for me. Why am I staying here? Because he wants success, bro. He knows he wants success, bro.
I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know what I mean? I'm terrified of Isak going to Liverpool. That's why I'm talking how I'm talking right now. I'm terrified, bro. I'm a donkey on the edge, bro.
Do you know what's crazy? Yeah, is that even if they're not thirsty. They're one of them people that walk into the club. They're not thirsty. They can get anything they want. Why? They already got a nice thing, so they're just looking for a side thing right now. They got Salah, 20 plus goals a season. We don't have that. That's why we're so thirsty for Gyökeres or Sesko. They got Salah already. So now they're just working. You know what I'm saying? They're working. Let's see how it plans out. If it doesn't work out, it's calm. We already got 20 plus goals. Do you get me? If you play for Salah, you will get 20 plus goals. We ain't got that. And that's something we should focus on ourselves. You get me? I don't think Liverpool, we should worry about Liverpool regardless if Isak goes there or not. If Isak goes there, it's just a different story. Then it comes to where if Isak and Salah are gonna work. Do you know what I'm saying? In the same team. It's another story. Because if they both score 20 plus goals, we're done. Do you know what I'm saying? It's done. It's FIFA. It's FIFA, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? But man, I don't know. I'm worried about us. I'm worried about us, bro. I'll be real.
Terrified, bro.
I'm worried about us.
Just as you said, we're worried about us, yeah? I wanna ask all you, man. Let's go Hooks first, yeah? The 1-0 loss against Tottenham. Hooks, what are you saying, bro? Super Mick.
I don't care about it, man. Like, I'll be so real. I don't give two shits about no preseason threat. Like, yeah, it's not good to lose to Tottenham because it's Tottenham, but like at the end of the day, let's not go overboard. It's a preseason threat. Like, preseason friendlies are there for you to make mistakes and build up fitness and all of that, and you hope that all the mistakes that you've seen are ironed out by the time the season starts. Like, I wasn't hearing none of the Arsenal fan base riling up when we beat AC Milan or riling up when we beat Newcastle. All of a sudden, we lose 1-0, which was a Fugazi goal. Very Fugazi goal. It was a Fugazi goal. Fugazi. Outside of that goal, yeah.
That's the one that hurts the most. You said outside of that goal.
One thing to what you just said, though, Hooks, yeah? Can I just say something to Karen and I'll let you go because I asked you your opinion. Outside of that goal, they hit the post like 4 times. Outside of that goal, the manager is still putting out. For example, we saw him run out of tactics last season, This is a time where you said, and you were right in terms of it's a nothing game, I know we're going up against Spurs, we want to win it, but it's a nothing game. We're not going to win nothing, Why is he not changing it up when we're seeing Ethan performing, when we're seeing man like Matt Dalman performing? Why is he still selecting players that he wants to get rid of, i.e. Martinelli?
Oh yeah, I blame him.
Okay,
I blame him. Like, I blame him for that game. I blame him. Like, to me, like, because obviously I'm going into the game. I don't even want to play Spurs in preseason. Like, I think it's super mad that we're playing teams like Spurs and Newcastle.
I agree.
The game's going to be way too intense for what it should be in preseason. And as we saw in the game against Newcastle, Calafiori got injured. That's the risk that you run of playing against other Premier League teams that are at a good level in the Premier League as well. But I went into that game like, because I went to go watch the game with D, did a watch along, All I wanted to see was Gyökeres start. That's the only reason why I went out of my way to watch the game. I wanted to see Gyökeres start. I wanted to see Max Dalman start. Like, there's things that I wanted to see in the game, just as like just try it out to see
experimentation.
Like, from the moment I saw the lineup, I didn't care about the game. Like, I honestly, if I wasn't watching the game with D, I would have fell asleep in the first half because it was so boring. Like, outside of the first 10 minutes, where, and it's the only prop I'll give to Ødegaard, because all of last season, the one thing that I was getting on him about is when you're in a position to shoot. He's getting into positions now where he should shoot, and he's shooting. Last season, he's not pulling the trigger. But outside of that 10 minutes, he went back to the Ødegaard that we all knew last season. Be effective in areas of the pitch that don't matter, and areas of the pitch that matter, ghost. That's what we went back to. I think Norgard had a good game. Like, I feel like for what Norgard was there to do, he did really well. But when you're starting with Rice and Norgard in a pivot, you're telling me, yeah, you don't want to control the game. You want the game to be combative. You want the game to be end to end. You want it to be physical. Why have you signed Zubamendi and
control the tempo of the game?
Who controls the tempo of the game, and you're not starting him? Because as soon as Zubamendi came on, I started seeing, okay, cool, the tempo is being a bit controlled now. But obviously, this is why, in my opinion, you need to play Zubamendi as much as possible in pre-season, because the way that he plays football, we're not used to playing football that way. Because he passes the ball off and then he wants it back quickly. He's already moved. He wants it back quickly. We don't do that. Everything's too slow. Do you know what I'm saying? And then obviously, you know, I'm like, you man know me in it. I actually like Havertz as a footballer, but he was dead in that game, yeah. And I'm thinking at half time, just bring on Gyökeres. But why am I all seeing not until like 77, 78 minutes is man bringing on Gyökeres? And I said, and I knew what was going to happen. Yeah, because I said it on D's Watch Room. What's going to happen is he's going to bring Gyökeres on at some stupid time where Gyökeres isn't going to be able to get into the flow of the game. He's probably not going to get, like, no one's going to try to find him or be direct enough to find him. And then everybody's going to troll us about Gyökeres after because, like, you know what I mean? He doesn't do anything. And exactly
you know why?
Happened.
You know why, Hooks?
Like,
Arteta don't like him. He's setting up for failure. Setting up for failure.
I hear it.
Right.
I hear it.
Right. This is my thing, Hooks. Yeah. Let me just say this. Right. I'm looking at the game yesterday, and I thought to myself, look, before the game even started, and a few of the people that have mentioned it in the chat, they're right, because I was popping off. I was popping off at some of my Spurs mate that were in the group chat together and stuff. Yeah. Now this ain't no friendly. This is not London Derby. I don't